Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Monster Hunter Wilds. And it is your host, Samurai Kit Kat. And we are going to be I believe we are going to be finishing the campaign today. So let's not talk, let's not dilly-dally any further. Let's get in the game and play. I know, I'll never connect to the server. Don't question me, game. Stop the questioning. Oh, Rita. Your side thigh action. How dare you be so yummy. So delicious. Uh-huh. Aha.
Hunter, if we don't stop the Dragon Torch, Xochitl will awaken, right? And if it does, terrifying things might happen. This is my job as a keeper. It's what I'm supposed to do. Will you come with me and help me do it? Thanks.
We're almost there. This has been some journey, huh? Arkveld, the Guardians, the Dragon Torch, and now... Wyveria's secret weapon.
I miss napping on the sand ship deck.
That pack of Balahara was... terrifying.
Poor Nona really had a scare.
You were so cool, though. I was afraid of you at first. Could I really trust a stranger who could cut down monsters like that to get me home? I really knew nothing then. I didn't know that sand could be as thick as fog. I'd never seen someone laugh like Nona during the Season of Plenty. I'm sorry for not listening when we found Raydao.
The red water? Triple gangers?
A fire spring was so exciting.
Humans, Mudwoods, monsters, we're just trying our best. The Guardians too, especially them. Before meeting you all, I really didn't know anything.
Nata.
It's time the Keepers see their mission through.
Won't take much to wake it up. The Dragon Torch. To think that little pendant can stop it.
We don't have to do this. There's one other option.
Hunter, are you sure? Right. It's worth a shot, isn't it?
Yeah, let's do it!
Leave this to me.
Watch, Nanda. This is what hunters do.
I will.
By my own order. I will slay Zoshia! Let's do this!
Bullshit. Fucking bullshit.
Hang on, I've got you.
What the fuck, dude? Come on.
Leave this to me. Shields inbound. What is that? It's jet black.
That must mean... No, there's no way!
Almost there. Get a load of these claws.
Bullshit. That was close.
Got it on the ground. Go on, get this.
Leaving energy! Now's our chance!
Go! Jeez. Really? Help. Help. Hell then. There it is. Oh my goodness. All the harvesting. Horse's tail. Is it laying on top of its own? Oh, there it is. Come on. I ain't got much time to harvest this damn thing. Alright, cool. Shoosh! Oh boy. Just blood and extract, man. Blood and extract.
Tashin! Tashin!
My boy! Against all odds, you found another way. You hunters are incredible. You chose a path that we never could.
Tashin, we can choose. Arkfeld chose too. It found its own way to live. So did the other Guardians. And now, it's time for the Keepers to step away from duty and truly live. Thank you for everything.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've done it. We beat the campaign of Monster Hunter Wilds. Once we are through with this, I am going to do my live in-after gameplay review of the campaign for Monster Hunter Wilds. And so we're just going to have a sit-down chit-chat and just kind of go over it and my feelings, you know, the positives, negatives, criticisms, and so on and so forth. So we'll let the credits continue from here, and then we will talk about it afterwards. And there it is. Fantastic. Oh.
So they found the Keeper's village. And unraveled the mystery of the White Wraith. They even managed to see the boy home safe. Truly impressive. However, to learn that it was artificial life...
The Guardian Arkveld scoured the land for a more lucrative energy source. By absorbing the properties of those sources, it was able to achieve a higher state of living.
Unfortunately, after learning predation, it became unable to control its intake of wyvern milk. Intoxicated by the surplus of energy, it descended into madness. These were the findings of the expedition?
Yes, sir. But this report has just come in.
Wyveria's ultimate guardian, Zoshia, awoke from its resting place. It fed off the Dragon Torch, the heart of the Forbidden Lands ecosystem, to evolve itself. And by doing so, threw the weather of the surrounding regions into disarray. Cognizant of the long-term repercussions, Avis Unit made the agonizing decision to put Zoshia to rest. A life-altering end. Just as Alma said, that hunter is something else.
Sir, if I may, why do you think the people of Wyveria created the Guardians? For what purpose would they endanger themselves with monsters like Zoshia?
I dare not dishonor them with conjecture.
The details require finesse, but it seems the door is open to diplomatic overtures between East and West. The Guild, I know, is eager to open communications with the Forbidden Lands.
No. We will hold off. Should that branch be extended, it must be from them. More importantly, this Dragon Torch, was it? Uncontrollable energy, upon which an entire ecosystem depends. They intend to continue their research on it, and the artificial monsters.
While it's safe for now, the Dragon Torch and Guardians are in a precarious balance. There are worries surrounding its artificial nature.
My take is this. Both mankind and their creations play a role in the ecosystem. If nothing else, nature will always surpass humanity's expectations. This expedition was not seen through without flaw. But so long as there are hunters, we can handle whatever may come.
Alma! Hunter! Is it true?
Come on.
Arkvelds.
The will to live always finds a way. From one generation to the next.
I really liked that last little bit. That was really nice. So. We're probably just gonna... Whoa. That's all, where all the X's. All the titles. All the things.
Good morning. Did you have a good rest?
Hunter rank 8.
A sand ship arrived while you were sleeping.
Fantastic.
Olivia has returned too. What do you say we stop by the command tent when we get the chance?
Before we do anything else, though, I want to just give my live review since it's fresh in my mind. Everything has been over the past few days of beating this game and, you know, giving my fresh take on it. So, as far as the story is concerned, the plot of Monster Hunter Wilds is great. It's got a really good story to it. I think it's solid. I really enjoyed every minute of the campaign. It made me wonder, made me wonder what was going to happen, what was actually the whole point of Arkveld. I think that was like the biggest thing I wanted to know was Arkveld, what role it played, what was happening, why does this thing exist, all these questions, which is good. You want to have your audience captivated by the mystery and want to continue to play more until they find those answers. I think as far as the pacing of the campaign, it was great. I don't have any qualms with it whatsoever. You know, it didn't leave me wondering for very long, which you could say probably some of the criticism to it, as I see a lot of people say, is like, oh, this is too short. That may be, and I do agree with this to some extent. I do believe that, especially towards the end, I think that's probably where the choke point is. So when we're here, when we first get into the plains, we're not here for very long. And that's kind of the census with a lot of things. If we look at the map, I think, even despite how huge these zones are, if we go to the full map, there's only like 4 zones, right? It's here, the forest, the ice caps, and then you know, like the city and places and whatnot. So like and then those like sub zones within those zones, right? Like if we go here to the plains, we got like some areas here that are a little different. The environment changes mildly, but obviously it's the same zone. So compare that to other Monster Hunter games, such as, like, we just have to look at World, right? World is the example from which this comes from, because this is supposed to be the predecessor. Is that the game, the zones in World, there seems to be a lot more of them, a lot more zones, but of course we also can't count this against Wilds just yet, because a lot of the other zones came after the DLC of Iceborne. So as far as the base game for World, we're pretty much in the same boat. So that is good. I really like that. Talking more about the campaign and its pacing, so I think the monster fights were generic. And as when I say generic, they weren't overly over-the-top difficult. And as most people point out, it's a really training is what this is. The campaign is training for you to become a better hunter by the end of it, getting really familiar with your weapon systems, getting familiar with everything, and some of the core mechanics of the gameplay. So that way you're prepared for the tempered monsters, you're prepared for these other things that are going to be coming your way in DLC, and of course the monsters are going to get stronger, they're going to have more health, they're not going to be as susceptible to your attacks as what they are through the campaign. So as far as the zones are concerned, I believe we were in them for too short of a duration. I think they could have extended the campaign most certainly. Does it have to be like 100+ hour campaign? No, I don't think that's necessary. I also, believe that, we completed it in, 20 hours or less. That might be average for a lot of games, I think. And of course you could spend longer in the campaign. It just depends on how sidetracked you get and how many times you faint or don't beat a monster right off the bat, right? Because it takes it approximately 10 to 15 minutes to beat a monster, but if you faint, that's 10 to 15 minutes that you add onto your gameplay. So and I think we did really damn good. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. I think we did really fucking good. I only fainted like once that I can recall. And other than that, though, we beat everything first try. We didn't have to go back and redo the mission at all. The same cannot be said of Worlds. World is far more difficult, in my opinion, much more unforgiving. And as I had said in previous videos, that Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be a much more accessible game. The numbers for it speak for itself, of course. It's obvious. It's obvious that this is a more accessible game. And it's because there's a lot more creature comforts. There's a lot more cushion for new players and filthy casuals such as myself. Like I told everybody, I have never completed a Monster Hunter game. Haven't done it. This is my first beaten campaign in Monster Hunter, even though I've played Rise, Ultimate, World, Stories, and some of the predecessor games. I kind of just touched on them, but I never beat them. And it's because the accessibility factor for me was very low. One of the biggest complaints I've always had with Monster Hunter is the fact that I had to stop doing what I'm doing to sharpen my blade, pretty much stop in my tracks to drink a potion. I never had the ability to be able to keep on pace with the monster itself. Obviously, people are going to say, well, that's a skill issue. Abso-fucking-lutely it is. But that's the point. That's the point. When Monster Hunter is made like a Dark Souls game where only the few can actually enjoy it, it's successful. Obviously, it's going to be successful. But at the same time, you're not going to reach as many people. Because there's going to be a lot of people who buy the game, and they're going to be like, this is too fucking hard. This is too much. A lot of us are not, streamers. A lot of us are not people who have a lot of time to dedicate to video games. And so when we get our precious hours after working long and hard on our work weeks, and we only have maybe 2-3 hours, a lot of us have kids too. I'm fortunate. I don't have kids. I have a loving wife and a dog and a gecko. But at the same time, even for myself, I work 12 hours plus a day. Aside from my weekends, and of course, my shift, I work from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. It's a fucking brutal shift. I sleep during the day. I don't have friends. I don't talk to anybody really. So, what do I have? I have video games. That's what I have. And even then, I've only been able to put this amount of play into this game because of just my schedule and my life. Getting to the point, when something is too difficult, it turns off a lot of people. It may not be difficult for you, and that's good. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you have a really skill set. I'm glad that you have the time and energy and effort to put into these games to where you can be proficient and be able to tackle them and not have an issue and claim that you're one of the best. I fucking love that for you, man. And woman, dude, dudette, bro, brah, whatever you want to do, I don't care. But nonetheless, that's the truth, though. And so it makes me feel really happy. It makes me feel really good when I can finally complete a Monster Hunter game without failing and failing and failing and failing and getting frustrated upon frustrated. And of course, I had my moments of frustration with this too, but it was very minor. And I've gotten much more happiness out of defeating the monsters in this game than I have with any other Monster Hunter game. I feel so accomplished and so powerful, and I feel really good. This game is a feel-good game, and that's how. And I wouldn't change it for the world. This is how it should be. Every game should be a feel-good game. And yes, of course, people are going to say, well, everybody that plays Dark Souls, it's a feel-good game for them. Yes, but again, the population difference between Dark Souls and I would actually have to go out on a limb and looking at Monster Hunter Wilds right now, Dark Souls I don't think has ever reached this many concurrent players. Could be wrong. I don't know the facts, statistics. Fact check me. But at the same time, that's my feeling. I don't think Dark Souls has ever gotten this big. And also, Monster Hunter has never been this big either, and it speaks to the volumes of how well this game was accessible to people. How well the campaign played throughout. And that anyone, in my personal opinion, if I can beat the game, everyone can beat the game. I know a lot of folks say that, but some people are not filthy casuals like myself. And so as the 99%er, play with Monster Hunter Wilds, you will absolutely enjoy it. So, going back to the campaign, of course, because we're still talking about it, right? The monsters were great, but I'm going to talk about some criticisms. Obviously, we kind of touched on one of them. I do believe that the campaign was a little too short. I really don't feel like I was able to truly take in and explore these zones. I feel like the forest and the cliffs and all the other places, I feel like they were very linear to me, even though there was a great space to explore. And remember, not too long ago, I was swimming under the water. I didn't even know that existed. I don't even know how many people even know that exists. That you can actually go swimming in this game. That's fucking incredible. Now, granted, it's not like open world swimming and you have a direct path when you swim, but the fact remains you can do it, and that's really cool. So again, you know, that would have been something that I would have included in the campaign. I would have had to swim down to that sunken city to find some sort of like clue or something about Arkveld or the Guardians or something, right? You know, revisit these old zones. And or I say old zones loosely here, but revisit all the zones. There should be a reason to go back to them, and we never did. There was no reason to go back to the forest. There was no reason to go back to the cliffs or any of those things. So I think that they missed out on a big opportunity there to increase the campaign viability, to increase the time that you spend in the campaign. Every facet of every chapter that we played in this game could have been expanded on exponentially. But like I said, I don't really, you know, it's kind of almost a wash because it was still enjoyable. I just want to enjoy more of it. And so that's a criticism. The next one is the ending, the end parts. So the last few chapters of this game. To me personally, I felt like they were very hurried. And what do I mean by that? Do I mean like, oh, the campaign got to the point too quick? Kind of, yeah, it really did. The mystery was solved right then and there, and then I think the biggest tragedy to the campaign was the last monster. Was it Zoshe? Right? Yeah, almost already forgot its name. And that's the point, right? I have almost forgot the quote-unquote the actual monster of this campaign because Arkveld has been given so much more attention. Arkveld was like the thing. Arkveld was in the beta. We played against Arkveld from even before the game launched. And there was this whole thing surrounding Arkveld. But Arkveld just turned into some sort of like little pawn. He was nobody. Really. If you think about it, he was nobody. And then this is Zhe Shao. Again, I'm going to probably mispronounce the name because it's forgettable. So you have this mega powerhouse of a monster who's been feeding on unlimited power for how many years? And then I was able to beat it in like no time at all. I think that's actually that's being disingenuous to the monster. I think that's being a little disingenuous to yourself. I don't think that was how it should have played out. In fact, this is my personal opinion. This is my hot take. This is what should have happened. So Arkveld, of course, should have been the monster. He should have had a redemption arc because, and I can say this now because I've seen everything, right? And so I'm going to explain even further. Arkveld, the redemption moment. Let's just say Nata was able to use the pendant and release all of that power that Arkveld has been gathered up. And of course, as we've seen with Zhe Shao, this white covering on all these guardian monsters is actually, that's wyvern milk all over them. And when Nata uses the pendant, it would have broke all of that off of Arkveld, and we would have seen Arkveld for what it truly was. And it would have made him less vicious. It would have brought a lot of rest and peace. And then Arkveld could have flown off as a newly embraced creature. And as of course we've seen at the very end, laid an egg. And therefore we could fight Arkveld over and over again because it would be repeatable and it would make sense because it was able to reproduce. And then, after the redemption arc of Arkveld, we learn about the Dragon Heart. And when we get down there, we see this mystery monster that is cocooned inside of the heart itself. And it could have, it should have just ended right there. It should have just ended right there. Capcom could have spent more expanding on the campaign, expanding the Arkveld arc, right? And then from there, kind of give a little teaser as to there's some crazy mega monster that has been feeding off of the heart this whole time in this area, creating all this power and this craziness, right? And that would be part of the DLC and a continuation of the campaign. So, you know, the first part of the campaign ended, but we all understand that the cliffhanger here is that there's this crazy fucking monster in the heart of this land, and it needs to be dealt with, but it's inaccessible to us of some sort, right? And so then we would find ourselves here, and the ending still would have been relevant. The ending that we just saw after all the credits and we went back to the West, you know, and we just experienced that with, you know, the Arkveld egg being something, still would have been relevant. And it would have ended on that cliffhanger and it would have been just fine. I think it was very disingenuous for us to fight that monster and win. And win. I don't think we should have been able to fight that monster. And I don't think we should have won that on that monster either. But after fighting it, we find that it's too strong, and we get a cutscene where our hunter gets, you know, thrown around like a rag doll, and then the monster flees. Because again, like I said, this monster is supposed to be pretty fucking strong. I think everybody agrees that that Zhe is supposed to be really fucking powerful, like almost unimaginable, like demigod fucking power, like more powerful than I would say even Final Fantasy's, what do they call them? Fuck. I don't remember what they're called, but you know what I'm talking about, like Ifrit and Garuda and Titan. You know, those. I think that Zhe is on the same fucking level as them. I shouldn't have been able to beat them. I shouldn't have been even fucking close. I think they did a great job of the whole breaking apart their head, you know, the head of the dragon. The dragon's head came out of that, the wyvern milk, and really I didn't realize that they're covered in wyvern milk, or wilk, as it's called. I didn't know they were covered in wilk. I thought it was just like bone or something like that, but they're covered in wilk. And I only realized this through fighting Zhe. And so I think, you know, like again, Arkveld could have been so much more knowing this information. That we could have broken the chains off of Arkveld. Hell, the fucking thing was called Chained Arkveld in beta. We all thought that there was going to be like some sort of transformation with Arkveld. We all thought that this was going to be some sort of crazy, like, holy shit, this monster's going to go ape shit on us. And it never did. It never did. And and like I said, that's why it's disingenuous to these last few monsters that we played. I think it really soured me a little bit knowing that there is so much potential. So much potential with these monsters. And they were squandered a little bit with how the campaign was conducted. And so that makes me a little sad because I really wish this would have had a heavier impact on me. I'm a pretty emotional guy. I am. And I really like how video games make me feel. And so knowing that this game could have made me feel even more than what it did is a little sad. I really believe that we could have gotten more. I'm not asking for fucking 20, 30 fucking more hours of this game. I'm just talking a little bit more in depth. Maybe an extra 10 hours would be okay, right? Where we go back to those zones, and when we make our first observations of these zones, like the Red River, we never solved the Red River. We never solved the red water problem. We just assume it was the spider, right? The Lalabarina. We just assumed that was what was causing the watercolor. I don't really know what was causing the color of the water to turn red. And all these seasons and things like that, we should have went back and explored these more after learning things about Arkveld. So that's my actual major criticism to the campaign. I really don't pay attention to people who say it's too short and don't give context to why. Why do you think it's too short? I just gave you the reason why it's too short. Because it got disingenuous towards the end. It was a great build-up. It was a great story. We have fantastic characters. Some of the best fucking characters in the entire franchise. Some of the best characters in all of anime. Right? These characters are rememberable. Alma and Gemma and Olivia. You're never going to forget these people. So we had great character connection. We had a great character scheme. We had good story arc. You know, I never made a video game before. And obviously I will never ever be able to touch something or obtain something of the knowledge to make something like this, right? None of us do. This is incredible. This is art to the highest degree. This is a beautiful game. And the people who made it and put their time, money, blood, and sweat into it absolutely deserve every bit of credit that they possibly could ever deserve. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. And anybody who says different is just on the wrong side of the coin. That being said, though, like I said, where there is merit, there is also criticism. And I think what I have come up with is a very valid criticism. I think the power creep is wonderful. I think the gameplay is much more fluid than any other Monster Hunter that has ever existed. I believe, obviously, and it is very obvious, that it is the most accessible Monster Hunter game to have ever existed. This is a golden game. This is a game that we have been waiting for years. This is a game that is going to bring so many people into video gaming again. Like 2025, just like it's supposed to be the golden era for America, right? I really hope that we get another golden era of video games where we can get rid of the politics, get rid of the bullshit of real life, and get lost in fantasy. Get ourselves back into the immersion of virtual reality and enjoy it for what it is. And Monster Hunter is absolutely one of those franchises, and this in particular, one of those games where I can lose myself and be whatever I want to be. This is a top tier game. This is something that I would say would be contender for Game of the Year. I'm interested to see what else comes out this year that can even come close to this. I don't know. I have no idea. To be honest with you, I have no idea what's going to come close to this. Grand Theft Auto 6, maybe. I know Pirate Yakuza has just come out. I haven't played that yet. I plan to at some point in time. But as far as like complete immersion in a realistic fantasy world, Monster Hunter always does it. And, you know, I always compare Monster Hunter with Final Fantasy a lot because they share a lot of similarities. In fact, in my personal opinion, Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy could be part of the same fucking universe, in my personal opinion. They really could be. In fact, they're so close that this is kind of true. Monster Hunter has collabed with Final Fantasy before. In Final Fantasy XIV Online, you can fight a Rathalos. These two companies have created some of the most realistic fantasy that people can lose themselves in, that are deprived from real-life politics, and ultimately you can lose yourself in a fantasy and become something that I would never dream of. I couldn't dream of. I couldn't dream of this. Even me being an artist, I would have trouble fantasizing these things and coming up with all this. This is just blows your mind. It should blow your mind. Just like Elden Ring and the Dark Souls series blows people's mind with the art direction and things like that. It's because it's absolutely deserved. It's wonderful. With everything else, obviously, I mean, look how beautiful this game is. It's gorgeous. The graphics are just, they're top tier, as they should be. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Obviously, we had some issues with polygon problems here and there. We had some frame problems, but it's because of my settings. My settings were off for my hardware, or my internet was having issues. So I can't blame Monster Hunter or Capcom for any of those things. Those are my faults. Those are because I was inadequate for putting the settings right or having everything done. Because I mean, look at how smooth everything is. It's smooth as shit. It's wonderful. It's just, you know, unfortunately for PC players, we just have to figure out our settings. That's it. And if you don't take joy in figuring out the settings of your computer, then you're really not a computer master race, are you? You're not a master racer of PC. You take joy in understanding your computer, how to get those frames, how to get the graphics to behave appropriately. Yes, we all understand that things should be a lot easier, that we should be able to just do like consoles do, and just buy the game and start playing it without any issues. Unfortunately, PCs, and well, it's fortunately and unfortunately, PCs are a completely different animal to consoles. And that's how it's, in my personal opinion, always going to be. So deal with it. And if you don't want to deal with it, then don't play computer. Just don't do it. Go buy a console or buy the game for your console. Because everyone has watched me, as far as I say everyone, I've played the game, and everyone can watch my entire gameplay. And they have seen the few struggles that I've had, but guess what? I fucking fixed them. I fixed them with very basic diagnostics. It's either internet, hardware, or the game. And then when you figure out what it is, guess what you do? You start going in further. It's like the branches of a tree. Okay, I figured out it's my hardware. Why? Oh, it's because I'm in fucking 4K resolution. Shit. Oh, it's because I'm using frame generation. Shit. And then you go and fix it. And then guess what? You get this. You get a beautiful game that you can play smoothly. Understanding your hardware is half the battle. If it was internet connection, well, I mean, the only thing I can do there is just hit the reset button, right? Reset the modem and go again. And if it's the game, well, Monster Hunter would have already put out a patch if it was truly the game. If the game was really a problem, Monster Hunter would have already fixed it. Or I should say Capcom. Capcom would have already fixed it. And then we would be right here, right where we are right now. I love the weapons, I love the armor. I mean, just fucking look at my character. She's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, like I said, the mask I'm not too crazy about. Everything else is just fucking awesome. But that's just my personal opinion, right? Everything else about my character, I fucking love her so much. Again, I'm an artist. I really want to draw her and make like even more different versions of the armor and stuff. And the customization of this game is like just on another level. The fact that you can make your character look however you want is great. The fact that we can even mess around with pigmentation and stuff like that, and of course customizing our secrets and so on and so forth is fantastic. So, you know, all this stuff is great. Monster Hunter has and always has made its game better and better and better. But I will go out on a limb and say that this is the best Monster Hunter game that they've ever made. And I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong in even the slightest. I don't care if your personal perception is, oh, well, the monsters being not as difficult and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't mean anything to me. The monsters are going to get difficult. We have tempered monsters that we're about ready to fight, right? There's tempered monsters out here. There's going to be more difficult things. To say that this isn't going to get more difficult is going to be a slap in your own face, and you're disingenuous to Capcom. They're going to deliver to you. They're going to give you something crazy. They really are. I really wish that there was, I hope, that we are going to receive an ancient dragon. Because that hill right there, that mountain in the background, I really feel like an ancient, you know, dragon had something to do with that. Or an ancient monster. Something crazy. That would punch a hole like that. That's some fucking Godzilla shit right there. And this also goes into the whole art style. This right here, this scene, is going to be one of the most iconic scenes of this year. Of all time. If you go to someone right now, and you have this picture, if you have that mountain, if you have this scenery put somewhere, anywhere, they're going to be like, oh shit, you like Monster Hunter? You like Monster Hunter? I don't know of any other Monster Hunter game other than the fact of showing someone a Rathalos, right? Showing the monsters themselves, where people are like, oh yeah, that's from Monster Hunter. I guarantee you, this scenery, someone's going to be like, that's from Monster Hunter. That in itself is a reason enough to say that this game's artistic value is greater than any other title that they've ever made. I mean, this is an absolute pleasure to just walk out here. I can feel the warmth of the sun. I can feel everything. I feel like I can feel the breeze and smell the air. Like, this is great. This is wonderful game design. This is something I want to fly to that fucking mountain down there. I want to get on the back of a wyvern and fly all the way out there. That is where I see Monster Hunter going. If you don't think Monster Hunter isn't going to go in that direction, now granted, I don't really want it to be a true MMO. I think this is perfect. This is perfect. A few players here and there, a lobby where you can kick back and talk to people and fuck around and whatever, that's fine. I want to go there. I know you don't see me pointing at my TV or my screen, but you know what I'm talking about. I want to go there. It's the same feeling that I got with Skyrim, where I seen the mountain. I seen that, and the great thing with Skyrim and why Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls games were so fucking good is because if you've seen it, you could get to it. You could get there, and you can find out. You can fuck around and find out. I really hope Capcom does this, and I really hope that they do it in my lifetime. I hope that they keep this level of art, and I hope that me and 3 other online players can just go apeshit and discover monsters roaming the entire globe, unrestricted. You know, I like the zone idea, but as we see with the evolution of time, the Monster Hunter zones are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and at some point in time, they're going to be so big that we'll just see everything. There won't be this zone. I'll be able to keep zooming out and zooming out and zooming out, and I could go everywhere. And as far as that's concerned, though, that's my review of Monster Hunter Wilds. It's a beautiful, gorgeous game. It's accessible. It's wonderful. Everyone should be playing this game. It's a detox. This game is a detox.
Can't forget supplies.
I'm gonna take a cab.
So, go play Monster Hunter Wilds. Have fun. Because you know I am. And so let's continue, shall we?